Welcome to Get a Word In, a podcast about content marketing. I'm your host, Adam Walker. I'm passionate about sharing stories and knowledge through content, especially in the form of podcasting. In fact, I co-founded Edgewise.media, a podcast-first marketing content agency. On this show, I interview content marketers at some of the top companies in the world and discover what's working for them, what isn't, and most importantly, what's next. So stay tuned and get ready for some great content about content marketing. Hi, and welcome to Get a Word In. My guest on the show today is Wayne Pelletier. Wayne, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Man, I'm excited to talk to you. Let's start with you. Who are you? What are you about? What's your company? What's your day-to-day look like?
I am a career designer and creative director. I started my own firm, Resonant Pixel Company, 2 years ago, almost 2.5 now. And I help marketers, business owners, leaders get creative out to market that is effective insofar as they see it, right? So help them meet their goals with creative on the web or social or other types of marketing. So that's about it.
Nice. All right, 2 years in. I love that. That's great, man. Well, let's dive into some content. I want to talk about content marketing, content in general. Let's start with what's working. I mean, in your mind, like, what are you seeing in the marketplace? What's working for you? What's working for your clients?
Yeah, I'm glad you made that designation. What's working for me is, and boy, the cobbler's kids are really bumming in my world. But I will tell you, what works for my business largely, and it's been proven, is the community participation. Being a member of communities with businesses that are similar and or parallel, either vertically or in the same sort of space from a maturity standpoint, right? So I'm a member of several communities, and what this has done is caused a fairly consistent flow of referral business. And I didn't see that going in. I just am a social person and I like connecting with people. And when we were in COVID lockdown, 2 months after I started this thing, I was like, oh crap, what am I going to do? I can't go out and network and meet people. There's no more conferences. So I really doubled down on Slack and communities, whether it is local, like Fuse Atlanta, or more national, like the Buero of Digital, or more entrepreneurial based, like Smashing the Plateau. So those are small plugs, but what I found is that it's beyond social connectivity, which is what I went in there for, is that it's actually a really good source for self-improvement and networking. And I've built some valuable relationships in there. And from that has come constant flow of referrals, which has been a unintended but fantastic consequence. The other I would say for my clients would be honestly social video ads with the absolutely amazing rise of TikTok and Reels has come on inside of Instagram, and I'm even seeing Reels inside of Facebook. Video has become 10 times even beyond YouTube, and even they're trying it with the shorts, even though I don't think it's been as sticky as they had hoped out of the gate. It doesn't seem like their major influencers have been embracing shorts necessarily, and they haven't put it at the top of my feed, which is all the evidence I need. But I would say that that has been killing it, because the lines between ads and just expertising or video content has really gotten fuzzy, and video has allowed us to do that. It's been, being two-dimensional like that, I think has really changed that game. And then ongoing content, I think we've reached we're past peak SEO where you can just pee in the pool. You absolutely need quality now. Quality over quantity. Now that rankings are just saturated beyond belief, and garbage is ranking really well everywhere, but it's not the best top of funnel strategy. So you can put 1,000 pages out there. I've had clients that put 1,000 pages out there and they're all trash. And then they wonder why top of funnel quality is down, right? I'm like, you don't need 80 articles. You don't need...
Trash brings in trash. It's not going to do you any good. There's no point.
Five fantastic articles out there.
That's
just
right.
to really help people in this world.
Yeah.
And proof, look, search for a recipe. Oh my gosh, what a disaster. So those are the things that are kind of working and I threw some trends in there and a little bit of what's not working, but.
Okay. Well, let's dive a little deeper into what's not working. I mean, where are you advising clients to move away from? What content are you moving away from in your company as well?
I think to some degree, moving away from the idea that online presence is strictly a matter of keyword strategy. It speaks back to qualitative. And marketing research and insights and all that stuff is really fantastic. But a lot of businesses have made their bones with a presence that speaks to a lot of people or generalizes and tries to speak to a lot of people instead of just speaking to one specific person. And I think that the proliferation of social media has created this dialogue online that is passionate, regardless of where you fall with your thoughts on social media. And I think that moving away from the web is problematic for a lot of businesses as social media tries to be all, including e-commerce. And I've been having conversation with my customers and with other brands that say, look, you really need to connect with your first statement on your website. Copywriting could not be more important now than it's more important than it's ever been in the past. So really trying to connect the dots with your best customer model and being as passionate as possible and illustrating what's important for that one particular individual and just seeing how social media traffic, even indirectly, grows exponentially because of it.
So you mentioned copywriting cannot be more important. So I'm going to ask you a loaded question that I have a very direct opinion on first, but I won't tell you my opinion yet. So copywriting is so important. How do you feel about jargon in industry speak?
Oh, it's trash.
That's my
I'm
boy
sorry,
right
is that
there.
too direct? Was that too direct?
No, I'm just, I mean, I was expecting some curse words maybe, but no, I mean, that's what kills me is like, I go to, even today, I will go to like a major Fortune 500 company website and I'm looking on their homepage and I'm like, jargon, doesn't make sense, like, this is garbage. And all of these smaller companies are mimicking that garbage, and it's off-putting to everyone that they're trying to connect with, and it drives me crazy. So,
you pushed another one of my buttons there indirectly, and you're not aware of it yet. But I will circle back to it. And I know we want to keep this fairly short, but
no, that's okay. That's all right. Go ahead.
Big companies have the benefit of scale, and they can solve incredibly hard problems because they have an extremely deep bench. Small businesses don't have that luxury, so we can't speak in jargon. So I would just come out and say what you do well, and be comfortable saying no. So that really speaks to a lack of brevity or confidence in the inability to niche and get more specific with what they're really good at and just focusing on that. Right. And I'm going through a major transition in how I talk about and position my services in that regard.
Good.
And the other one is copying. You touched on it. Copying big businesses. A small business can't do what a big business can do. So don't copy, don't steal.
Don't try. Yeah.
I've had so many businesses reach out to me, not just in this business that I run now and own, in my career, even as a young graphic designer. Some businesses like, oh, I really like what our competitor is doing. Just do it, but make it look like we're not stealing. Yeah, and when you're young, you're like, sure, I'd like to get paid. And the boss is like, just do it. And you have almost no authority. As I got older, I was like, are you sure that's really the best tactic? Now I've matured my conversation around that. And my feedback isn't just no, or you're a jerk, what the hell are you doing? It's more like, are you being your best self? How do you even know what they're doing and saying is even working for them? You have
Right.
no idea what the brief said. You have no idea whether or not it's effective or if they're even if it's part of a roadmap and trajectory that they're shooting toward years from now, and it's just a stepping stone. You're going to copy one stepping stone.
They may be going in a direction you don't want to go, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes back to what we talked about a minute ago, in being authentic and being your best self, putting your best foot forward. Once you feel like you've reached the end of being your best self and you want to bother being competitive, then that's fine. But this fixed mindset that there's only so many pieces of the pie or there's only so many customers is such crap.
Yep, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Moving to the next question, because I really want to ask you this. And I think you might have mentioned it earlier, but where is your content performing the best right now? Like, where are you seeing the most traction? Where, if you were going to double down on something, where is that going to be? What's the channel?
I mean, you can't beat Instagram's reach, but every business isn't. Most businesses are not good at being there, and unfortunately, B2B businesses are pretty much non-existent. I think there's a lot of opportunity from a B2B standpoint, but social ads, even paid, are performing tremendously well. Even if Facebook continues to raise the ceiling for what you need to pay in order to run targeted. And look, Google paid search still works, even though Google results are largely just a series of ads and it's garbage. You know, paid works because it is a pay-to-play system. So having expertise around landing page strategy, magnet page strategy, and knowing your funnel, that stuff is working as well as it ever has. So some experience with direct marketing or direct marketing strategies can really help you in that regard. So that stuff's still working, as well as influencer is working.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The challenge with influencer, if you've ever tried it, any brand you work with that tries it, the middle class is hard to nail down and weed through. The lower class is easy, though the reach isn't going to be there. And the high class folks, they're easy to work with and easy legally. They're easy from a content standpoint, but it's extremely expensive and small businesses can't play there. Mid-sized businesses rarely have the strength or the will to do it, even though it's probably going to be the best investment they make all year, even if it's their entire marketing budget. Just have Thomas Frank put your product on his desk while he's talking about productivity and see what happens to your brand. That's what scale and reach do.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. So that actually plays into my last question, which is, if you could choose just one thing, one content related item to focus on for the next year at the expense of everything else, what would you focus on?
Content wise, think about productization. And I'm urging a lot of businesses to think about subscription models and productization. As you know, there's a lot of concern right now about changes in the economy, downturn, recession, even though there isn't much proof for businesses like ours yet in that regard. But, you know, hearing the rumblings of it, quality content beats quantity in the future. There is no argument against that. Productization, so that you move the conversation around the totality of what the offering is to customizing fit. And subscriptions. I think subscriptions, which force production and fulfillment efficiency, and they'll stretch even consumer packaged goods companies to an extreme. They're still struggling to figure out subscription bases. But having subscriptions is a different content strategy on the website. It's a different value proposition. And even you can't just add a subscribe and save 5% button on your checkout page on Shopify. There's a whole story around the value of subscriptions that is relationship based. That is different than the story you've been telling from a transactional standpoint historically. And I think that some nuance there will go a long way as we sort of deal with a new and changing economy and marketplace. That's for the next 12 months. It's kind of where my head is at. Not just for my customers, which I've had these conversations for weeks now. It's also my business.
Yeah. Okay. So Wayne, that's great. Let me see if I can just recap sort of what we've walked through. You can then sort of correct if I missed anything, and then I'd love to just find out if you have any final thoughts you'd like to share. So related to content marketing, what's working? You said community participation. You're in several communities. You mentioned Slack communities. For clients, you mentioned social video ads, video in general, and you said, quote, the line between ads and videos has gotten fuzzy, so you can create videos and use them for ads and use them for other things. And you emphasized quality over quantity for content and also for videos. For what's not working, you said content to a generalized audience is not working, and you emphasized that copywriting could not be any more important than it is now. Where does your content perform best? You mentioned Instagram's reach is great. Social ads are performing well. Google paid ads work because people are paying for them and they're obviously still getting results. And influencer marketing is still working really well if you're willing to make the upfront investment, which is often very steep, but can be incredibly beneficial. And for the one thing you would focus on in the next year, you said productization, subscription models, and again, quality content beats quantity in the future every time, over and over and over again. Did I miss anything recapping our conversation there?
I don't think so. Sounds like a pretty solid recap there.
All right. Well, any final thoughts you'd like to share with the audience before we wrap up then?
No, I don't think so. You know, I'm curious. I mean, I'm always watching content marketing. We've seen a lot of it over the years, and we've seen it change from this sort of run of network, you know, Verizon garbage page buy to what used to be called native advertising, and trying to do some things with some really poor quality content and get it into accidental click spaces. I think moving away from that and moving into a more honest and valuable conversation space with people that we understand to be within the sort of realm of our best customer model is a proven and will continue to be a proven model for success. The challenge is patience. So you can get high on crack of Google paid search. That's fine, but you can't just turn that off. It changes the business. The long-term play is far more sticky and can't be turned off.
Yeah, that's true.
You think about that.
Yeah. Long-term play is always where it's at if you can afford to do it and to make it, right? And sometimes I think there's a balance between a short-term play with paid and a long-term play with organic, but ultimately long-term plays are always going to pay off. So Wayne, man, this has been amazing. Love your insight. Love your business. Thanks for joining me on the show today.
I am so grateful. Thank you. And I hope this thing goes bananas for you.
Thanks for listening to Get a Word In, brought to you by Edgewise.media, a podcast-first marketing content agency. To learn more about Edgewise, visit www.edgewise.media. I'm your host, Adam Walker. To connect with me, check out my blog at adamjwalker.com. Thanks for listening, and make sure to subscribe now so you don't miss our next great conversation about content marketing.